Let's do a little stock up, stock down, and let's start with Alejandro Zendejas, the guy who's gotten a lot of run here on Futbol Americas. You giving him a stock up or a stock down?
This is a stock down for Alejandro Zendejas because of what we know Alejandro Zendejas is, who we know he is, what he can do at the club level, and the hype he had going around him heading into this U.S. men's national team. Now, I've said to you many times, I don't think he's a U.S. men's national team winger. I said that to you. And here we are today talking about his performance. I think he's an 8 at this level. For whatever reason, BJ Callaghan, Greg Berhalter, and the people at U.S. Soccer see him as a winger at the international level. I think he's better suited centrally. He shifts centrally anyways. I think he's better suited coming from the midfield on to attack, helping create. At times, he's so in his own head trying to do something. Trying to reward the fans for believing in him, trying to reward U.S. Soccer for believing in him, that he gets in his own way. He tries too much. He doesn't let the game come to him, and these things happen. I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's a winger at this level. I think his best position here is as an 8. So while maybe he's stocked down, I still have high hopes for Alejandro Zendejas moving forward. I just never saw him as a winger here.
What is clear here, Herc, is that they want to give him an opportunity, right? 3 straight starts at that position in the Gold Cup. What's not so clear is what he's doing with that opportunity. I think the bar for a stock up in the Gold Cup has to be very high. One, because of the competition you're playing, right? Alejandro Zendejas, based on where he plays at club, is better than the guys that he's going against here at the Gold Cup. So he needs to be impactful. The other reason he needs to be impactful, whether you're thinking of him as an 8 or whether you're thinking of him as a winger, is he's got a lot of guys to chop through to get, forget about starting minutes, but any minutes with the A team. I mean, I think we have to say, if you're not dominating at this level, you ain't moving anybody off that A team. And I expected a guy who every time, at least last season when he was healthy with America, he would be dangerous, to be much more dangerous than he's been in this tournament. The other thing, Herc, that I really have been surprised by with Zendejas in this tournament is the physicality. I don't see him getting bullied in Liga MX. A couple times in this tournament already, I have seen him lose physical battles, and that is something that goes very much against the DNA of this American team. He's not going to fit in well if he loses those physical battles like he did tonight.
Yeah, one thing that I will say in his defense, I guess if I have to defend him here, is he's one of those guys put behind the 8 ball because everybody's coming off the end of their season and going directly into this tournament. Well, he ended his season in humiliating fashion, Futbol Americas did against Chivas, and that was it. So it's been a while, and while most of these players, I would use his Mexican counterparts, have an actual camp where it's about 2-3 weeks, this guy's training by himself and they get thrown into an actual U.S. men's national team camp, so it's a little difficult for him to actually react there. He's kind of behind the 8 ball physically.
Yep. 61 minutes tonight for Alejandro Zendejas. Cade Cowell got the last 30 minutes of the second half, and probably more dangerous in that half hour than Zendejas was in his hour on the field. Let's go to our next, well, I don't want to say victim. It might be a stock up. Our next player to evaluate tonight, Gianluca Busio getting the start in midfield. Stock up or stock down, Herc?
Stock up, and I was very surprised you wanted to give him a stock down. This one to me was a shocker that you wanted to give him a stock down. The man had a team high 96 touches, high 80s in the percentile of passes completed, scores a goal, ends up scoring in his home state, and you want to give him a stock down here. I thought he was good, and you want to give him a stock down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think the bar for a stock high just has to be, it has to be very high at this level, right? Again, because of the competition and the competition you've got internally
at the Gold Cup level
in your own roster. Yeah, and look, yes, the competition within the roster for the U.S. team is very high. The competition in the Gold Cup is very low, so you got to be dominant, Herc, and he's not dominant. And this is a guy who generally, when I look at the trajectory of his career, I start to worry. Because a year ago, he was a legit outside bubble candidate for the World Cup team. And 2 months ago, he's not starting at Venezia, that is a middle-of-the-table team in Serie B. I know he gets the goal, and we can fall in love with the goal and the storyline that it's his home stadium. But again, for what I saw for most of the game until the goal, the ball gets to his feet, it's slow. It looks like a player who's out of confidence. It doesn't look like the Busio from 12 months ago, 18 months ago. And Herc, if we're comparing him to the other midfielder that played tonight, Georgi Mihailovic, I mean, it's not even close. I think both those guys could miss out on the next World Cup. That's how good the midfield is. But if you're only taking one, it's Mihailovic way ahead of Busio for me.
Well, not tonight. Not tonight. It wasn't Mihailovic
come
tonight.
on.
It was Busio tonight.
Mihailovic sweet through ball on Zendejas. When Zendejas puts it across for Ferreira's
Did you
second
not see
goal.
the ball that Mihailovic lost that almost led to a clear-cut opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago? You didn't see that one? Here, it wasn't tonight, but I am with you on Busio. I'm a little concerned. The international level, maybe not tonight because I thought he was decent tonight, but the international level, he's a half step slow, and he's not as dynamic as we might have thought. That worries me, and I do agree with you what you're saying about his club situation.
Yeah, not good there. I mean, there was a time when a guy who was getting minutes in Serie B wouldn't have been that far from the U.S. men's national team. But that was like 10 or 15, 20 years ago. A guy at that level now, that's not playing consistently at that level now, can't really be considered for the A team of the United States. Certainly not with the talent that we got elsewhere in Europe. Last of the stock up,
that's
stock
your problem,
down.
Seb. You're considering him for the A team. I'm talking about an actual Gold Cup.
Okay, all right. Well, let's give a stock up, stock down to the man in charge, B.J. Callaghan. Stock way up at the Nations League. How do we feel about him after the group phase here at the Gold Cup?
Stock up. I thought he pressed the right buttons once again. I thought it was a good mixture of players. I thought the substitutions were timely. He continues to motivate and keep the players engaged. It would have been very easy in this game just to win. It would have been very easy in this game just to go through. He didn't. He knew there was a task at hand. He knew you had to score as many goals as humanly possible. You wanted to come in first place in the group. Even though this is a B team, they're treating it as an A team effort. They want to go in the same way the A team will go into the next round. So I give B.J. Callaghan a stock up.
What do we learn about his style? Because I think when you look back at the Nations League, Herc, it was pretty obvious what you had to do. The team kind of made itself. The team played very well against Mexico. You repeated against Canada what you could, except for the 2 suspensions. And there wasn't really too much choice. What have we learned about his style now that he's working with guys that he's never really worked with before, certainly not at this level, and he's getting something out of him? Because it does feel very different, not just from a personnel standpoint, but from a style standpoint, I would say, to what we saw even just a week ago at the Nations League.
Yeah, I don't know how much stock I want to put into that, if I'm being honest. I don't really know how involved or not Greg Berhalter is, how much input or not Greg Berhalter has with B.J. Callaghan in this group. I think B.J. Callaghan has been more than acceptable. He's been admirable in this position. But we're at the point now where this is Greg Berhalter's team. It'd be very naive of us to think that Greg Berhalter wouldn't have a say in what's going on or some sort of input. So how much stock you want to put into that, that's on you. I'm not sure I'm buying all of that.
Yeah. It was never going to be easy to win this group with a B team and Jamaica that first game. Maybe they were lucky. Maybe Matt Turner makes a big save. If they lose that, they're probably not finishing first. But he got the result there, and then they racked up the goals. They did everything they needed to. So, credit to B.J. Callaghan. We'll give him another stock up here on Futbol Americas.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.